Vivek Ramaswamy is absolutely destroying Joy Reid, the woke TV host who, yes, we just did a video on her, had a meltdown about the Supreme Court ban on affirmative action for colleges. As you can see on the screen right here, here is the tweet from Vivek Ramaswamy. He says, Joy Reid embodies the modern left's playbook, talk a big game by spewing lies to her followers, then duck away from an actual debate when challenged on the facts. After I educated Don Lemon on air on basic U.S. history, Joy Reid did an entire segment about how my facts were wrong, then cowered in fear and hid whenever I offered open debate. Today, she wrongly asserted that I personally benefited from affirmative action, just like she did at Harvard, which is psychotic because Asian Americans are most penalized by affirmative action and were the plaintiffs in the recent Supreme Court case. The rare combination of ignorance and gall is shocking, yet laughable. Keep hiding in your TikTok safe space. So if you don't know what happened today, Joy Reid ducked from Vivek Ramaswamy, but brought in another person of the same race. This person on the screen right here who is talking to Joy Reid, who is Ro Khan. And I guess that she didn't want to directly debate Ramaswamy, so she brought in someone who looked like him to act like she was accepting the debate, but in reality, it was just another person of his same race to come on and say, we don't accept him. Like, it's the same thing that they do with black people whenever they're Republican or whenever they're conservative. It's like other black people on the other side will be like, oh, nah, he ain't black. You know, it's just it's the same thing like that. But this time it's with Vivek Ramaswamy, and Joy Reid had this guy. Let's check out what this guy has to say, man. Let's check out what he has to say here to Joy Reid on behalf of Vivek Ramaswamy.
Forth on the Twitters with one Vivek Ramaswamy, who currently is boasting about getting, who was the only African-American anchor in this business before I joined him in prime at CNN, Don Lemon. He's boasting about getting him fired. He thinks that is somehow going to be a big, flag for his run for president. Your thoughts on him? Because you've been back and forth with him online.
You know, when he first started, I thought, okay, here's an Indian American, funny name, we disagree. Hopefully he makes a good showing or does something well. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing, Joy. My phone blew up with other Indian Americans saying, make it clear he doesn't speak for us. Yeah. I mean, to sit there lecturing a black man about black history was totally uncalled for. And
that's exactly what I was talking about, by the way, saying that he had other Indian Americans messaging him saying that he does not speak for all Indian Americans. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's the same thing as he's not black. It's the same thing as he's not white. We don't claim him. It's the same exact thing. And Joy Reid probably brought this guy on this show, probably brought Ro Khan on the show just to say that.
And then he didn't have all his historical facts. I mean, the Indian American community in this country holds a huge debt to the African-American community. If it weren't for the civil rights movement, the 1965 Immigration Reform Act would have passed, my parents wouldn't have come to America. Before that, basically, immigrants from Asia and Africa were not allowed to come. It was highly discriminatory.
It's really ironic because neither his nor my parents could have come here under the rules before the Civil Rights Act, before that 65 Civil Rights Bill, but he's acting as if the NRA somehow saved African-Americans in the Civil War. The NRA wasn't even formed until 1871.
But as I said earlier, Vivek Ramaswamy actually responded to all of this happening. Let's check out what he has to say here in this video.
Tani held for the Supreme Court that black people could not be citizens before the Civil War because that would allow them to own guns. After the Civil War, the first anti-gun laws, gun control laws that were passed in this country were actually passed to stop black people from owning guns. These are some of the facts that I educated Don Lemon on set in a heated exchange that we had shortly before his firing. So shortly after that exchange, Joy Reid, an MSNBC host, has Ro Khanna, a Democratic politician who happens to be an Indian American, as a stand-in for the Indian American view, criticizing me for supposedly stating falsehoods. Actually, everything I stated is factually true based on U.S. history, but criticizing at length my supposed falsehoods, and then has Ro Khanna effectively licking her feet, which is exactly what she wanted on air, talking about how Indian Americans owe black Americans a debt of gratitude. So I thought it was remarkable that here's a TV host, supposedly who wants to engage in open debate about my views on this post-Civil War history, who's talking about me on air extensively to another Indian American second-rate stand-in, but won't talk to me directly, so I made an offer. I said, if you want to have a debate about this, if you think that your recounting of the post-Civil War history is any different than mine, let's have that debate in the open. What do we get? Silence. This is what the modern left does, and Joy Reid embodies it.
She would never talk to him because this is an actual intelligent person, whereas Joy Reid is admitting that she wouldn't have gotten into Harvard unless affirmative action existed. And then she also claims not only would she not have gotten into Harvard unless affirmative action existed, she also claims that while she was at Harvard, people were telling her that she didn't belong there. Like, dude, are you serious? Let me know in the comments if anybody believes that people at Harvard were telling Joy Reid that she didn't belong there as she was walking around the campus. Like, come on, man. Like, is this really the level of storytelling that we're at now? Like, that's like Jussie Smollett level stuff, man. But she would never talk to somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy because she knows that she would get absolutely obliterated. I mean, you can just hear how the guy speaks in comparison to how Joy Reid speaks, and you can just tell the intelligence level is there's no comparison.
Very well, actually. Cower in fear and hide. Talk a big game when you're talking to your own community, when you're talking to the people who agree with you, but cower in fear when it comes to actually confronting the other side in open debate. Now, more recently, she was spouting off about affirmative action after the Supreme Court came down with its ruling, saying that she would not have gotten into Harvard without affirmative action. I believe her. I think that's probably true. But then she also complained that she was judged negatively by her peers because she got in based on affirmative action. I actually said that that's wrong. It's wrong to Black Americans. It's wrong to Asian Americans or
It never happened, by the way. Never happened.
white Americans who are discriminated against. But it's even unfair to Black Americans, many of whom I went to school with, who would have gone in meritocratically anyway. It's unfair that they're judged that way. So I said so. And then Joy Reid again, classic pattern, talking about me instead of to me, says that, oh, Vivek Ramaswamy also wouldn't have gotten into Harvard, but for affirmative action. That is a lie, and it reflects a shocking combination of gall and ignorance, failing to pay attention to the fact that that case argued in front of the Supreme Court was brought on behalf of Asian Americans, that includes Indian Americans, who are systematically discriminated against, penalized by affirmative action, which rewards Black and Hispanic Americans. So that combination of ignorance but self-confidence embodies the modern left. And the sad part of it is, folks like Joy Reid, again, they have utter, total, apparent comfort with spewing falsehoods.
By the way, those facts that he's saying is right. You know, the fact that affirmative action really hurts Asian Americans much more. I mean, it obviously benefits, Black people, but it hurts Asian Americans quite a bit. And I did a video on another person on CNN, an Asian guy going on and debating one of these other woke TV hosts, bringing facts. I think it was like 275 points higher Asians had to score to get into these Ivy League schools than Black people do. It's pretty insane. I don't remember the exact number, but it was either 225 or 275 on the SAT that these people that Asian Americans have to score in order to get in at the same rate as Black people do with affirmative action laws. Hopefully that stuff is gone for good. Hopefully they don't find any workarounds for it. I'm sure they'll try, but hopefully they don't. But it is true what Vivek Ramaswamy is saying right here with Asian Americans.
And doing it to only the silos and the echo chambers that agree with them. Totally comfortable to talk about me at length and all the reasons why I'm supposedly wrong, when in fact I'm grounded in fact. But what I say is, okay, if I believe in my views and you believe in yours, I'm open to having it out in the open. That's where I talk to Chuck Todd or Don Lemon, go on the Breakfast Club. I show up and believe in open dialogue and debate. That's how we get to truth. It's a shame to see that some of the leading commentators for the modern left, when push comes to shove, really just go back into their caves to hide from the truth, wallowing in their own fear. What I'll say is, Joy, from one alum to another, the offer still stands. I understand why you'd like to hide from debate, but I think it's better for the country if you're actually engaging with the people who disagree with you, rather than talking about them with falsehoods without actually confronting the facts.
And we'll never see that debate. I would love to see it. I think it would be entertaining. I don't think it would last very long because I think Joy Reid would probably end the segment pretty quickly after she realizes how outmatched she would be. But I don't I think it would be very entertaining, and I think it would be very good for the discourse to see just how wrong Joy Reid is on these topics and just how right people like Vivek Ramaswamy are. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments about this whole altercation between Vivek and Joy Reid. And what do you think about Joy Reid bringing on that stand-in that was the same race as Vivek to kind of just come on and say, he's not one of us. We don't claim him. And they're probably going to do the same thing again. It's probably going to be the same thing again. She would never actually have him on for a debate. Every single time Vivek Ramaswamy or someone like him would destroy Joy Reid, she can't just say, oh no, you're a white man and your opinion doesn't matter, because he's not. So what does she do? She brings on somebody of his race and says, oh, no, we don't claim him. He's not part of our group. We don't agree with him. It's just so hilarious that the things that the left does, man, and they're so predictable. Let me know what you're thinking about this whole Vivek Ramaswamy versus Joy Reid situation.